Hi everybody, welcome to the thumb. So when I was eating my lunch today, it's Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening right now. Um, yeah, when I was eating my lunch, I was watching videos as usual. Usually do that in my spare time. Um, but I was watching one from, I think it was called TC's Outdoors. Pretty good channel. Um, anyway, he was talking about creosote buildup in his central boiler, classic edge, and his was, I can't remember if he had a 350 or 550. I got a 750, but yeah, I have the same problems. Um, but the one thing I did first, because when I was having trouble, I went to the owner's manual, and that said to turn up your temperature, and I turned it up to, I think when it comes from the factory, I think it shuts off at 180. I'm not sure. Anyway, maybe 185. Anyway, I turned it up to 195, and that was too hot. It was kind of a, talk about burning your face off when you open the door. Yeah, don't turn it up that high. But yeah, so I kind of hit a happy medium, and I've had it this way for pretty much since the first year I had it. It shuts off at 190, turns back on at 180. It works really good. Yeah, so turning up the temp was the first thing I did, and that helped a lot. Probably the other big thing, which is in the manual too, but we never do it until we run into problems. But dry wood, definitely dry wood. Not just seasoned wood. I mean, obviously you got to have seasoned wood, but keep the wood dry too. I guess you could go through some of my other videos, but I'll run around. So in this building here, I have enough wood in here to, I could probably burn for a week of just like completely dry wood. Then out here in my wood shed, I've got, my year's supply. Yeah, you see some people that have just a pile next to their boiler and stuff, and that's just wrong. But yeah, I usually, I haven't emptied this yet in a year. But I usually start at the opposite end that so basically everything's at least a year old. And this wood is mostly that dead ash that's laying all over the woods. But it's still not really dry, even though it's been laying in the woods for 10 years. It soaks up moisture from the ground or gets rain or whatever. But until you split it and pile it up under something dry, a roof or whatever, it's still not dry wood. So that's the two major things that really should go without saying, but like I said, we're guys, so we don't necessarily read the owner's manual, and we're a little stubborn that way. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple of things I do on the inside every day. I'm hoping, not sure if it will be or not, but I'm hoping this will be a good example. It is. So, let me turn the light on. This is one thing I do every day, is I put a couple of pieces of wood crossways across the door, across the threshold of the doorway here, because all this creosote drips off the top just like it's dripping off of a roof, but then it drips down. If this log wasn't there, that'd be running right down the front of the air chambers and all that, and there's a lot of gaps in there and stuff, so all that creosote runs down, and instead of running down into the firebox side of things, it ends up getting down inside, and it gets into those little stepper motor, not the stepper motor, but the air inlets anyway, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, it causes trouble. I've never had one stick like he did in that video, but I should say I when I clean it out in the summertime, they're usually stuck, but they've been sitting for a few months too by then. And once I get them freed up, I don't really seem to ever have that trouble. But I know in warmer weather, it seems like you have more problems than when it's really cooking in the in the cold weather. But yeah, I probably should hurry up with my little presentation here. But anyway, I usually just throw that down inside there, and then I'll put some fresh stuff up. But I'm going to go ahead and get this. Oh, the other thing too that was on my list is scrape everything. Scrape everything every day as much as you possibly can, because that's the best prevention, is just to keep that creosote. Just keep it where it's going to burn up. I'm not going to show myself doing that because I might end up. I changed my mind. I will show it. I just use this tool. Came with my boiler. I usually kind of warm it up because there's always some creosote sitting stuck to it. Yeah, I always just try to get as much as I can. You don't have to be perfect every time. As long as you do try to get a little bit of it every time. It's not every time. Sometimes you can't even scrape it off. This time I just happened to put it right, and everything's good and loose. But especially down towards the bottom. I'm actually kind of pushing it a little. So usually when I'm doing this, I kind of fluff up the coals on the bottom. Usually it doesn't have this much wood in it either. Okay. Now I'm going to throw wood in it. Okay, first of all, I want to kind of apologize for the sound on that last little segment there. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got this new microphone for Christmas, and I'm still kind of getting used to it, trying to figure out where to place it and stuff. So, yeah, it sounded terrible. Actually, this is a retake right now because the other one you could hardly hear me. But anyway, yeah, it's all warmed up and shut down, and I'm going to open it up and show you one more thing inside. Give it a little time. This could be bad. Oh. So, I would say one of the most important things I started doing was putting the wood parallel to the door. That gives a little room on each side. You can see down the walls. It allows all that creosote to burn up on the side walls. And all that stuff, instead of like just, I don't know what it does, liquefies or whatever you want to call it, vaporizes, but then it condensates and then sticks to the walls, where if it just burns off, that seems to be a big help. And like I said, when last thing you do, you put a couple of logs or pieces of firewood across the threshold of the door. Those two things are probably the biggest help I've had on controlling it. So there you have it. That's my my 5 tips for controlling creosote. You're not going to get rid of it, but knock on wood, I really don't think it's a problem for me anymore. I've learned to control it. Kind of like a lot of things in my life, it's always going to be there, but you just got to learn to control it. But yeah, yeah, I really got no complaints with this boiler. I think I'm into my 5th year. Um, yeah, that video I watched from TC's Outdoors, I think his name was Tony. He yeah, he had to send a second water sample in because his his test showed that it was good, but when he sent the sample in, it wasn't good. And I've had the same problem. Actually, this year when I sent my sample in, I had to dump more in and send in another sample, and it came back good. But yeah, I think the test strips are just, they're not really definitive enough on what on the colors. It's kind of like the shades of yellow are a little too close. So yeah, if anybody from Central Boiler is watching this, and yeah, if you can come up with something better to send that we can buy to test that, that'd be great. But other than that, I hope your winter is going good. I hope your 2024 is going good. And thanks for watching, and take her easy.